Guys, have you loaded up Battlefield 1 just to see that 4 out of the 5 matches have a cheater? Yeah, me too. So, you may ask, why does this matter? This game is almost 10 years old, and the developers have stopped wasting their time with updates for a game with minimal amount of people who play it. Well, you should care, as this is the current state for most games, and some that even have been released within the last year. And I'm looking at you, Black Ops 7, Today, we're diving into what the community is saying, and some of these takes will shock you. Or, well, maybe it won't. You rebel, I like it. But most importantly, we'll talk about what we can do as gamers to make sure our voices are heard, because if we don't, the future of gaming could seriously be at risk. All right, so we have a review coming in from Andy. 427 people found his review helpful. 7 people found it even funny. Not recommended. And he posted this October 5th, 2022 at 5:59 a.m. He wrote something short, sweet, to the point, but it has a lot of... It's a valid point, all right? It would be better if they did something about the cheaters. Just vote kick functionality could help combat it. But there's just nothing to do about it as it is. You can report them, but it doesn't seem like they're acting on it. 4 out of 5 operation games will have a cheater, and it's absolutely ruining an otherwise amazing game. Alright, so let's dissect this. So Andy came up with a problem and a solution. He established there's a significant problem with cheaters in this game, in particular Battlefield 1. And I mean, on average, he's saying 80% of the games he's playing, there's probably a cheater in them. That's a crazy statistic. And I'm sure he's not the only one experiencing that. He then mentioned something so simple that would create a community fix, if you will. It would enable the current players in the match to choose to vote the cheater out. This right here could substantially reduce the number of cheaters in the game. Now, that still has to have some checks and balances, as some people could, of course, weaponize it, abuse it, whatever. But I give Andy a lot of kudos on this because he brings a problem with a solution, and when you do that, it is more likely to get fixed. Now, in the second sentence he wrote, you can report them, but it doesn't seem like they're acting on it. Now, I'll say this, he wrote this in 2022. And at that point, the game was 6 years old. Now, in DICE's defense, that's a decent amount of time to have passed to still have a big team working on that game. Now, to be very clear, I'm not excusing the lack of action. I'm just understanding from both sides from a business perspective. I believe 2 games had been released at that point since since Battlefield 1. But from Andy's point of view, it's tough for gamers to keep playing a game they love, especially when the developers leave the servers up for long after their release. Today, there's an expectation among gamers that developers will continue updating the game, at least to address security risks and keep out cheaters. It's pretty clear, at least when it comes to cheating, that's not happening, and as I mentioned earlier, this issue is not exclusive to Battlefield. And then lastly, Andy brings up that it's an amazing game, and he's absolutely right. As someone that has logged, I don't even know how many hundreds of hours of gameplay on it, I absolutely love this game. But there are so many other great games out there that people intentionally are cheating on. And honestly, I am not sure why. But with that in mind, I want to emphasize that we as players need to make our voices heard. If we, as players, or even consumers, don't voice our opinions and concerns, developers will just keep pushing out repeated slop product and calling them brand new. Black Ops 7. But that's why it is imperative, I cannot say this enough, imperative to do what Andy did and share your thoughts on platforms like Steam, Metacritic, or even Facebook, right? Social media as a whole. If enough of us speak up, developers will have no choice but to address the issue. Or at least, we hope so, before it's too late. Alright, so in closing, Andy raised an important issue in just a few words. Do you think that given the scale of the problem, the developers would be investing even more time, resources, and money to combat cheating. In fact, a quick Google search shows that companies are losing substantial amounts of revenue because of it. And we all know when businesses lose money, major changes often happen. Bankruptcy. Additionally, some people are trying to normalize cheating, claiming that devices like Cronus Zens are they're not a big deal and they provide only minimal advantages. But if we don't address cheating as a problem, both within our communities and with the developers, it will continue to spread unchecked and the consequences only get worse. I mean, it's going to spread like a cancer. So I'm going to leave you with this. I'm not just complaining and trying to stir the pot, but if we don't speak up about these issues, cheating will continue to grow and ultimately it will ruin the games we love.